All right, so since we don't have any more pressing questions right now, we're just going to jump into our next segment, which is...
Benjamin. He was the top guy on the screen.
So we got Desperate Times call for desperate players. This is for all those people that are like, oh my God, I have Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin.
Do you want to hear who
Gabe
I have?
Davis.
You want to hear mine? I have Keenan Allen, J.K. Dobbins, Godwin, Michael Gallup. That's my bench right now. Looking real good.
And now you're kind of reaching deep for some players that, if you're in a 14-team league, they still might be available, stuff like that. So I can start. I have a couple that I wanted to rattle off just to kind of go from there. So everybody's thinking that the Paris Campbell for the Colts is going to be that guy. He should be the number one. But I would have everybody look at Austin Doolin. He is going to be the number 2 this week. Should be available in a ton of leagues because he is way down on that receiving list. Matt Ryan's got to throw to somebody. They're going to have to throw it. So I like Austin Doolin as a super deep threat. Again, this is desperate times. Like if you need somebody, I like Austin Doolin.
Absolutely nobody to start, yeah.
And then another player to keep an eye on, because Gabe Davis is questionable and they're not sure, and he doesn't play until tomorrow. That doesn't leave you many options if you're going to try and ride that out. So look on the waiver wire for Isaiah McKenzie and Jamison Crowder. Both of them are somebody that you should at least stash on your bench for this week, just so if it comes down to a game time decision and Gabe Davis can't go, you have one of the backup receivers for the Bills that you can plug in, and you're not left with a 0 because you were hoping he played.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. In one league, I have enough players that I just swapped out Gabe Davis for somebody else. But in the Dynasty League, where I don't have hardly anybody, I have Gabe Davis in, but I have McKenzie on my bench ready to go if he can't play, because there's not really a lot of options. And I don't want to take Gabe Davis out and then he ends up playing and then I hate myself. But I also want to leave myself with some backup. So I got Isaiah McKenzie in one league. That's a good one.
And then before you go, David, we have a question here that popped up I want to get to real fast. Sit or start for quarterback, Matthew Stafford or Kyler Murray? And then for running back, Najee Harris or Chase Edmonds or James Robinson.
I definitely love Chase Edmonds today. Last year, the Ravens were terrible against receiving backs. Like we talked about today, that's going to be both of those defenses are going to play those quarterbacks well. I think the dump off is going to be Tua's best friend. And I think Chase Edmonds has a huge day. Quarterback, Stafford all day. He's going against the Falcons. And like I stated earlier, I think Kyler Murray is going to have his hands full with the Raiders.
Pass rush is insane for the Raiders.
Yeah. And then what was the other?
So so the 3 running backs were Najee, Chase Edmonds, and James Robinson. You had to start one. Or sit or start. I think I'm starting Stafford, benching Murray. I'm starting Najee. I just spent too high of a draft pick to give up on him after 1 week.
You didn't have to.
Yeah, I'm not just going to drop him. I've also been a Chase Edmonds hater all off season. So I do, however, have been a James Robinson promoter and lover and blowing him up. I love James Robinson a lot. Especially because he seems to be, again, like I said, right now he's out snapping Chase Edmonds or Travis Etienne just by a little bit, but he's outperforming him. So I like James Robinson. He looks good after his injury. So I mean, unbiased, I still would probably start Najee because I'm not benching my first round pick after week 1. No. But I like James Robinson more than Chase Edmonds personally.
That's what I would do. Stafford. Bench Kyler. There's not a lot of running backs I would start over Najee. Probably none on it. I mean, unless I like Jonathan Taylor, but you're not going to have both. So I'm not benching Najee for anything. His ankle thing is a little concerning, but I'm still not benching him. And they play the Patriots. I'm not worried about that. And then Edmonds, I would play over I'd probably play Edmonds over Robinson.
Yeah.
I like Edmonds, though. I'm not too high on Robinson just because ETN, I think, eventually will take over that role. Even they can say Robinson this and that, but
Andrew said the opposite. Kyler Murray and Chase Edmonds. He agreed with Edmonds for you guys.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm playing Najee, but if I'm debating the other two, I would do Edmonds.
I think the Steelers opened up the playbook a little more this week. They were, I think, conservative, just trying to not give the ball back to the Bengals too many times last week. The Patriots aren't as good as the Bengals, so I think they're going to have a little bit different of a game plan, and Najee should touch the ball more. That's why I like Najee. And he's going to get all the goal line work. I don't think Chase Edmonds gets goal line work. James Robinson should get goal line work. And pass catching, I think Edmonds and James Robinson are the same. Same with Najee. Najee's going to be is a good pass catcher. But so that's
obviously your house is very, very plugged into all things Steelers. How worried are you about that injury? Do you think they're downplaying it? Because it looked brutal. And then they come out, they say, oh, it's not serious. But, I mean, we all have eyes. We saw that.
The fact that he was a full participation on Thursday's practice makes me think that really is okay. If he wasn't full participation, he was limited, and then full participation on like Friday or Saturday, like way later in the week, I would be a little bit more nervous. It's the Thursday practice that he was full participation that I'm like, okay, he's fine. Like, and the fact that he was a full participant and not limited means he can move and he likes it, or he's okay with it. And Najee is one of the toughest dudes I think I've ever seen in football.
That makes me worried, though, because you know those players that have that mentality that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win it for my team, even if I'm hurt. Zeke does that, and he plays great for a quarter and then falls off the rest of the game because he probably shouldn't have been out there pounding it. But
I mean, we're definitely going to see, but I would rather... Personally, this is the week you're going to find out, right? Like, we're going to know right now if it's going to be good long-term or it's going to be affecting him. And I would rather not see 30 points on my bench for my first-round pick because I tried to get cute versus playing my guy, he gets like 7, and it's like, all right, now I know going forward. But if he has 30, 35 points, and he was my first-round pick, and I tried to be cute week 2, like, you know what I mean? I would beat myself up more for that than I would riding with him.
Yeah. It just makes me nervous for like long-term purposes, like moving forward, because if he re-aggravates it or whatever, it just stinks. I mean, that's running back for you, though.
Yeah, and this definitely could be a different conversation going into next week. We'll get more for watching the game today, but that's just my take on it. What you got for desperate?
Better offensive coordinator, too.
I know it's so bad.
You know what? At least you have an offense because we don't. We don't even have Amari Cooper. We don't have Gallup. We don't have Dak. We don't have anybody.
Do you know there was only one team not to score a touchdown last week?
Yeah, it was the Dallas Cowboys. I'm aware. You don't hear me praising the Cowboys.
That's true.
Yeah, well, you know, Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears and Tom Brady owns the Cowboys, so
it's fine.
Moving along.
7-0.
You got any desperate plays? Desperate times calls for desperate plays?
Actually, Isaiah McKenzie was like my number one because everybody started dropping him after week 1. He was out there. He was available. I thought that was an easy pickings right there. Obviously, Najee's backup, but then Najee came. You know, Najee looks like he's going to be good to go. Pretty much the guys we already covered as far as Pittman, Kamara, their backups, who we think is going to come out in those games. Yeah, I think I'm good there.
You're the craziest person I got off the waiver wire this week. Somebody dropped J.K. Dobbins. And I've never picked up a player so fast off the waiver wire. And now I have Najee, Zeke, Sanders, Dobbins. Like, I have way too many running. It's a 1-flex league. Play 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex, and I have way too many running backs. But it is fine. Because I was about to let J.K. Dobbins hit the waiver and me be like, yeah, no, I don't need him. Like, no, what the heck? My mind was blown.
You know that team's going to be cursed, though, right?
Probably.
I do believe I just heard you say Sanders. Would that be a Miles Sanders?
Yeah, he's on my bench, so it's fine. The second I need to play him is the second my team will absolutely score 0 points, the whole team. He scored a touchdown last week, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I wanted so bad to go to Andrew and be like, ha! Miles Sanders out here scoring touchdowns, not Gainwell, but then guess who scored a touchdown?
They all
Gainwell.
scored
And
touchdowns.
then I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But then guess who also scored a touchdown? Scott. And I'm like, this is a joke, right? Because there was 1 week last year, I don't know what I probably had Miles Sanders. And I was like, nobody else. And Miles Sanders was out, and I needed another one. And I think I picked up Scott, and he scored literally 0 points. There was just 1 week where I was like shuffling between Eagles running backs, and none of them did anything. And then they all three came out week 1 and scored touchdowns, and I was so mad. And then I couldn't even go talk crap because Gainwell ended up scoring.
Yep. Yeah,
I got bit by
the Boston Scat Mirage last year.
So did I. So bad.
All right, guys, we're coming down to the end here. If you guys have any questions or anybody listen out there, please drop them in. We'll still get them in. We got a couple.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.